YouTube in 3, 2, 1. Yes, we are there. So, Kathleen, you can share your video and audio. We have Mike, we have Nicholas, and we have Christian and Laura.
Hello.
Hello. So,
hello, Michael.
Hi there.
Yeah, Kathleen, can you share your mic and video? Because I made you as a presenter and then I will log out of the room. So I will do the job of introducing Kathleen, and then Kathleen will take up and make the introductions for everyone. So I just want to see Kathleen. Kathleen, are you there? What happened? Let me relog in you. Can you try again? I have you should have all your options. Yes, we see you. So I'll just make a brief introduction and I will get started right now. So Kathleen has a very diverse experience. She has been into theater. She has spent last 15 years owning her creativity, leadership, and problem-solving skills as a performing artist, and producer. And now, without any further delay, I'll pass the mic to Kathleen, who will be running a panel with Michael Broadie. He's coming from the social impact space as a community builder. Then Nicholas, who comes from he will be presenting the panel as a government representative on how they are managing communities and social ecosystem fostering. And we have Christian and Laura in our room, who are working from business ecosystem development. So Kathleen, all over to you. I will be muting myself and the feed is live. We don't hear you, Kathleen. You have to give mic permissions also. It's okay. Hold on. I think I know the problem.
Welcome everybody to the panel. Thanks for being here, and thank you to everybody at Broadie for
to give mic permissions also.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yes, I can also see you now.
Yay. All right. So thanks everybody, Michael, Nicholas, Lara, and Christian for being here today and for joining us. As I said, I'm Caitlin. So everybody here is working within creating ecosystems in very different styles. So I'm gonna slowly go around. Everybody take about a minute or so. Give me your elevator pitch on who you are and what you do, and then we'll ask some questions and have a nice discussion. So Michael, you're next to me on the list here. So why don't you start us off?
Okay. So can you hear me clearly? Can you? Yeah. So I'm Michael Broadie. I'm the CEO of OurNet, ournet.news. So ournet.news is a web-based community building website which is intended to work with our natural desire to group together in communities. And sorry, there's some strange noises going on there. To group together in real communities, and its absolute intent is to help people foster a community. Some very odd noises.
We have some traffic, it seems.
Oh, okay.
Joys of London.
Yeah. So briefly, that's it.
Right, cool. And Nikolaos, why don't you tell us a little about I think you were involved with the EU versus virus, right?
Yes, hello. So basically, I started my experience in being a volunteer in EU vs virus. So I joined early with a hackathon and then with a matchathon. I became the head of account managers in the EU vs virus. It was a really nice initiative, and we will have some talk about it later on. So regarding myself, I'm also an entrepreneur and a PhD researcher. So it's also I'm really familiar with the challenges that you have to deal with when it comes to innovative ideas and then bridging the gap between industry and apply these innovative ideas to real products. So that's pretty much for me. Quickly, nice to see
Fabulous.
you, everyone.
Nice to meet you all. And then I'm going to hand it over to Lara from NetMinds. And full disclosure, actually, my company is the Hafer, and NetMinds, Lara and Cristian, are working together to build communities.
Yeah. So thank you, Caitlin. So yeah, we're building a platform to be able to understand who's inside of a community and basically who can help each other, making it more automated and systematic to generate connections for finding help and helping others. So that's the way we're building community in innovators and startups.
Great. And then Cristian is the other side of NetMinds. He disappeared. Cristian, do you want to, there you are.
Yeah. My video is not working, but at least you hear me, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm with Laura, co-founder of NetMinds as well. So as Laura was saying, we aim to connect communities and business networks to help each other. Now, a little bit about me is that I'm an industrial engineer. Before being an entrepreneur, I was an innovation manager in a financial corporation. But then I decided that I didn't want to work for someone else. So I wanted to do something on my own. So that's why I decided to come to the UK. We are both Colombians. I decided to leave that job, leave my country, come here, study innovation and creativity, and start a business here, where I met Laura, who is also Colombian, but we met here. We had to meet here in the UK to start this business.
Yeah.
Great. So thanks again, everybody. I love the variety of backgrounds that we all are having. So I'm going to first question for Lara and Cristian. So your NetMinds really focuses on kind of the individual traits of people and their personality in order to build a community. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you came to that understanding of a way to build community and an ecosystem?
Yeah, I'll talk about the part of the community, and I'll leave Cristian to talk about the ecosystem because he knows more about it than I do. So in terms of community, I think one of the things that I started thinking about was how people were getting together to work. So when we were studying the Masters in Innovation and Creativity, we discovered the concept of open innovation and how to generate innovation. You needed to collaborate and to be able to share technology, skills, and knowledge with some other parties. So we started just thinking about, like, is it a community around it? How do people come together to help each other and collaborate, and not necessarily to sell? And the way that we got into the matching, it was more about kind of like something that was happening in our personal life, specifically in mine. So, for example, when I was in Colombia or when I was traveling, I was always thinking about the people that I knew that were pretty similar in terms of personality. And I will put them together because I will think that they will be very good friends, you know? And oftentimes that was kind of happening. So I started to be this connector of groups between friends. So when I started thinking about the open innovation, I was like, yes, that's the way that we should be doing it as well. Finding people that can match together and introducing them to each other, basically, because it's just easier, faster, and it's a better way to build community around something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it connected a lot with me also. But it's interesting because we had complete different views. So Laura has been more about the social impact and the social aspect of the relationships and collaboration. So as I was saying before, I was working in a financial corporation. And actually my work was more about finding partners bank to collaborate with. And it was very interesting to see that for people it's very difficult to understand that you can have an agreement with another business or a B2B business, a B2B agreement, without needing to have an invoice or without needing to have a financial invoice or to pay something, but that you can actually make a collaboration. So for example, for us, we were partnering with several startups where we were, for example, getting data information or some new technologies from them, and then we were giving them access to our customers, right, for their products to be delivered or to be used, right? In that way, we were not like, there was not a provider and a customer. We were just two people in the same level making an agreement. So actually, from my side was more from that experience, from the research that I had done, that you can have a business ecosystem where people is collaborating with each other and working with each other without needing to have a financial transaction in the middle.
Great, cool. And kind of along those same lines, Nikolaos, within the EU versus virus, you guys brought together a lot of people on the same level and a lot of people on really high up kind of corporate levels.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
So it started with a very nice initiative from the EIC, from the European Commission, and we have to acknowledge also a lot of to Mr. Isidro Lasso, who was the initiator of all this. And then basically, you see that under these circumstances, a lot of people, they came together and they start to work together. We were different cultures, different people from around the world, and then it was amazing. Because you could see that all the people were united under the same cause. We were against COVID, so it was an urgent matter, an urgent social problem that we have to deal with, and it was incredible to see how much we can accomplish, and everything is possible. That was really amazing, and it was also I was also amazed by this because we achieved a lot of things in only 2 months, and it was also my first so yeah, my trip started, I finished a mechanical engineer, so I'm also an engineer. I moved in Brussels to work as a consultant engineer, so I was in industry for several years. Then I moved to academia. I became a researcher. I started to think about innovative ideas. I also won a scholarship, so the whole mentality was actually to improve totally myself and think about the future, how we can actually apply all this research to make something good for the society. And then, of course, when the lockdown came, I guess all of us, we had to reconsider and rethink about what we have accomplished and we have done in personal life. And then it was for me, it was a really nice. I felt it a motivation that I wanted to actually contribute as a volunteer to something. So be part of something big. And when we started, it didn't seem to be so big, but apparently it was huge because we managed to have more than 2,500 applications for the hackathon, and then we had 120 winners from the projects. That means that 120 winners, they moved to the next phase, which was the matchathon, and that was actually where the magic happened. So we were able to arrange pledges with different partners, and this is really nice because we were not having only private corporates. We had academia, we had public authorities, we have people, independent people, they wanted to volunteer and help the projects. So it was an amazing movement. And in the end of the I won't say day because it was like 2 months, but after this we accomplished more than 2,500 pledges moreover. And now I'm very happy because actually we have all this momentum from this organization, what happened, and we actually continue with the EU vs virus community. So this is an ongoing community that is alive.
Open it, please, again. Sorry.
Yes, can you see me now?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, it's always better with a picture. So yes, and now we are continuing. Actually, we have the EU vs virus community, where we have coordinator team. I'm one of the coordinators. We are 9 people now, and we have the full support of the EIC, and our idea is basically to continue supporting these 120 projects to monitor them and ensure that they will have the final products in the end of the day, because it's a different thing to, of course, have a pledge, and a different thing to return something to the society. But apart from this, we have so many innovative ideas which will not be used unless we actually put them in the light. And I'm also talking about the other participants that we have, more than 2,400 participants that they didn't make it to the Matchathon, but they had very good ideas, some of them. Maybe they don't have the maturity, but this is actually where we should play our role and help them to grow up. So basically, we were acting as a liaison, I would say, a glue between the partners and between the projects, I would say. And it's a win-win scenario, because from the one side, projects gain, they have visibility to all these incredible people outside, to industry and academia. And from the other side, the partners are actually able to see what the future will bring us, and take new ideas without even investing in time. So they have a full portfolio of new ideas that they are able just to invest, and they don't really have to invest in money. They can invest in human resources, in knowledge, in other things. So it's incredible. And the most nice thing is that all this happened, of course, under the crisis, and that says a lot, basically. And I'm very happy, because that says a lot also for the humanity. It seems that 2020 is one of the toughest year, at least for my generation. Yeah, probably other generations, they have other things, but in my generation, I'm middle 30s, so I didn't expect to have a year like this. But I'm really happy from the other side, because I see the nice face of the humanity through all these actions, and actually I see the light for the future generations. And I strongly believe that we really have to think about the ecosystems and how we should adapt the future, because now we have a post-COVID period. Hopefully, it's not yet finished, unfortunately, but in the post-COVID period, I think that we will have more like a flattened surface, that we will start to rebuild everything from scratches. So we have to adapt new business models, new ideas, and etc. And it's very important, before we do this, we have to take a step back and basically put the ethics. So put an ethical code on what we want to accomplish as humanity. And what I have seen, okay, I'm young, but what I have seen is that if we make an action now, actually this action will have an impact after 10 or 20 years. So from an idea to become a solid product, to become something useful for the society, the time that we'll need, it's actually 10 to 20 years. So now we are talking about my son and maybe my let's say, children in the future. So we really have to think now for the future generations. And it's good, because when we have this kind of crisis, you realize that you also become more mature quicker, and that's also it's a very nice thing. Yeah, we have now a very beautiful conversation, and this is due to all this what happening now. You can see all these political changes, the health changes, and everything.
Yeah, definitely. And that kind of perfect segue then into my question that was for Michael about in AllNet, how do you see people coming together in a more, I don't want to say a more organic way, but in a less focused on one product sort of way than in the virus or the tech?
That's such a great question, but I also have to comment on what Nikolaos was saying. And that is, I have an advantage over all of you here, because I'm actually I'm quite old. I'm actually 71 years old. I was born just after the Second World War. And what I want to tell you is the world is so much better now than it was then. And Nikolaos is absolutely right that it takes a crisis to make people realize that what they're doing isn't working very well. You know, as long as we only get moderately stressed, we go out to work, we do a job which bores us, you know, we earn enough money to buy things to ease life, we don't actually realize that things are happening in the outside world which actually aren't looking particularly positive. Now, personally, I think they are all positively moving in the right direction. The world's getting better and better and better. I think it always has done, and I think it always will. So I'm very, very optimistic about it. But I think we've also gone down cul-de-sacs. And when you look at the polarization of opinion, the emphasis of individual politics of identity over politics of community, you look at the way in which politics has become debased and is being abused very effectively. I got to the point where I started to start asking the questions, well, why is all this happening? And again, I don't know if I'm right or not, because I don't have any answers to anything. I have lots of questions and I've got some answers, but I don't know if my answers are right. But it looks to me as if we've been trying to adapt systems which were designed for relatively small hierarchies to a global scale, where we've been attempted to use things which were designed basically by kings to control fairly small countries. Those systems we've actually adapted to attempt to control the world. And the thing is, it's all so complicated, it's all so confusing that it's impossible. You know, there are 7 billion people with 7 billion different approaches to life, with different cultures, that it's impossible to actually understand why people are doing the things they're doing, unless we start to adopt new systems where people can are encouraged and rewarded, or not necessarily rewarded, but they get social benefit for contributing to each other and asking each other, how is it you believe what you believe? I believe something completely different. How can we find a way of working and living together? Now, for me, that is the question. How can we work and live together as individuals in a really large, complex world? And I've attempted to do something to provide some sort of framework where that can happen, and that's OurNet. And it's actually a system which is designed to do two things. Firstly, it's grouped people together in groups of people that in some way need to depend on each other, because community doesn't happen by just people of like interest joining together to look at the latest, I don't know, lipstick or whatever. People call those communities, but actually they're not communities because people don't have any need for each other in those communities. I have a need for people that I may not like. You know, I might go down to the shop and buy something, and I might buy something from someone I don't like, but that person is satisfying my need. And I need to find some way of actually relating to that person. So OurNet actually groups people into locations, allows people to contribute news, allows people to chat, allows people to share events, allows people to develop groups together, etc., etc. All the things which actually make the fundamentals of community, and reward people that speak to each other appropriately. So if I was to go onto OurNet and start being abusive, everyone else would mark me down. My contributions would start to disappear. So that would start to tell me, your way of behaving in the world isn't working very well. At the moment, our systems are designed to reward people that are provocative and rude. You know, Donald Trump's such a great example. You know, I feel sorry for the bloke in lots of ways because I'm sure he's psychologically really distressed. But only 50% of the world thinks he's great. The other 50% thinks he's hideous. So why does he come to the top of all discussions? And it's because the systems are actually designed to bring him there. So we need to have systems which are designed to bring people that get the largest amount of support to the top. And fundamentally, that's what I'm trying to do.
Fabulous. Wonderful.
And I can go on for days about this, but I will stop because it would be really rude.
I totally agree with Michael as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I love all of this community building. It's fabulous.
It's great.
We have just a few minutes left. So I'm going to pass it around again, and I'll ask everybody if you'll just share your thoughts kind of after hearing what everybody else has talked about, how this new really global global community that we've built kind of because of COVID, because of our having to adapt to the COVID situation, how you see that moving forward, how you see that sort of fitting into the communities that you're building, or influencing how we're going to function and how we'll see community in the future. So whoever starts first.
Yeah, I would say that social distancing actually and self-isolation of COVID challenge not globally, not only the economic organizations, but also the fundamental pillars of our societies, the human persons and the institution of the family itself. So this is totally in line with what Michael described before. I think, okay, the pandemic boosted social innovation and gave birth to new innovative ideas, but we always had new innovative ideas. The problem is that we don't look at these innovative ideas as a society. So the problem is the system itself. So what we have to do, if you ask me, we don't need to be the oil of that, let's say, system. We have to be the grain. So we have to block that kind of system and rebuild a new one. So we have to think about about ethics, and give a vision to the society. So now I think we are directed to our personal ego. So everything is surround us. So it's our personal universe. We have to think about the big picture. We have to realize how we came here, who we are, and what we want to accomplish as a humanity. And of course, this is difficult to do it in private sectors, because the entities, of course, they exist to make profit. I'm also an entrepreneur, and this is how it works. We have a capitalistic system, so that's how it works. But what you can do is actually that you can force this kind of action that you apply as an entity, in order also to make something good for the society. So you can also make profit, but you can have a turn a very good turn to the society. And we should actually focus on these kind of entities, on these corporates that they really want to give back to the society something. And I think the next step for us as humanity is to be honest. First, be honest with ourselves, and then be honest with the rest of the people. I feel that this is what we are missing: the respect and honest among the others. If we truly find these two pillars, I would say, then we can really recognize the world from the basic work that someone does by his hands, which could be amazing with a manager and with a CEO and everything. It doesn't have to do with a salary. It has to do with more ethical things, and then everything should be recognized. I want to give also the floor to the other people, because if I start, I am also with mine. It's very interesting.
No,
I
I
cannot
was
stop myself.
connecting a lot. Yeah. I was connecting a lot with what you were saying, because actually what I have been thinking is that people is more open to share what they have. So it's not about how people hold on to whatever they have, but it's about we are all in the same scenario. We are all inside of the house. We all are kind of like with the same uncertainty, let's say it. So it's about how, when you put yourself in the same level with somebody else, is okay, how are we going to get out of this all together? And how about we find that we don't need to have it all, and we do not have to know it all, because that's why we are in a society that have more people in which we can share, but also get from others. So I think this crisis has taught people that open mind into say, I don't know who you are, but you're a human being and we are in the same world and we want a better world. Let's do something. Let's connect.
Exactly.
You have knowledge, I have knowledge about this, about that. Let's just share those ideas. And I think it's about how there are more channels and more ways to do that. Because one of the things that I started seeing is that there were so many communities that started being closed. And I was like, no, why do we want to close communities? Let's build communities, but that are open, in which people can connect to other communities, because that's actually what we need. Everything is a system. So if we don't have oceans, then we don't have fishes, and then we can eat. And then, like everything correlates into one thing. So it's about, we are all part of it. Why don't we do something good for it? So I think that's what the crisis is showing people, in the sense of, we need one another, regardless of background, regardless of where we are.
Exactly.
Anything. It's just, we're here all together.
And it is okay to don't have the answers. It is totally fine
No.
to ask for
Mhm.
to ask the questions. I mean, it's better to ask the right question rather than giving an answer that you're not sure.
Yeah.
And in any case, every answer brings 2 more questions. So in the end of the day, it works like this. It works
Yeah,
like
it's,
this.
I want to bring back a phrase from Michael. They group together people that need to depend on each other. And it's very interesting because what you were saying was connecting a lot with our concept or what we have been learning, right? That it's very difficult for people to engage with each other if they don't know what the other person needs. But the great insight here is that we both need the same and we can fulfill each other's needs. And that's what collaboration is about. That people think that, oh, I'm giving away without expecting nothing in return. But in every relationship, there is always something that you give and something that you get in return. And I think it's how you build that community around a purpose. And now that connects with something that Nikolaos was saying, right? And I think that's the point where maybe is the missing piece in many of the communities, that the purpose is not very focused or not very well written, or everyone is not really connected with the purpose of the community. But because if the purpose of the community is very clear for everyone, for every member, and if they all understand why they're doing what they're doing, it's gonna be very easy for everyone to just get a message from everyone in the community, and they're gonna reach out and help whoever is there.
Exactly. Michael, you have to unmute your microphone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Good.
No.
Yeah, it just appeared. So yeah, so absolutely, and it's for me, it's around how do you build up trust with people, and the only way you can build up trust with people, first of all, you can start by having a principle that I'll trust people, and I try and trust people generally, but I know whether I really trust people by whether they do what they say they're going to do or not. So it's something that we have to build up over a period of time. So and originally the whole thing of trust came from when we were out, I don't know, hunter gathering or whatever it was. We knew that there are some people that we were happy to go out hunter gathering with, and other people that actually we didn't trust to look after us. But it's really critical for us to know whether we're prepared to hand ourselves over to other people or not. And you know, eBay shows you that, because people don't go to 1-star buyers. They always go to 5-star buyers. Well, I do. Perhaps someone does. I don't know. But it's perhaps if it's cheap enough, people go to 1-star buyers. Who knows? But it's but it's how you build up trust, and you can only build up trust by basically through reputation. And reputation comes through people gossiping effectively about each other. You know, everyone actually giving their judgment of everyone else. And for me, I get a good reputation. I generate other people giving me a good reputation. You know, and they don't always have to agree with me, but they say, actually, I trust him to have an opinion. I trust him to be good-willed about his opinion, even though he's completely wrong. I mean, that's what I want. Yeah,
and that's totally fine, and it's also in line with the honesty that I was saying before. So
totally.
We have to be honest. We have to be honest, and we all make mistakes. If we knew everything, then we wouldn't be in this scenario, in this situation.
Absolutely. And we also, sorry, it's difficult for me this bit, but we also have to listen. And it's I prefer the sound of my own voice to the sound of others, if I'm really honest. But everyone wants to be heard, and it's people not being listened to that actually causes them to become extremists in one way or another, because it's only when we listen to people and really make contact with that bit in everyone which is generous and loving and human. And when I say everyone, I mean absolutely everyone has that in them, as far as I'm aware. Then it's only by making contact and having that as the basis of our communications that we're going to turn this apparent mess of a world into something a little bit nicer.
It's So true.
There's sorry.
No, please, Christian. I want to say basically because he said something very important, and I make this mistake. I used I like to speak a lot. You can realize it also now. But I'm also trying now to improve myself on listening, because basically, if you consider only when you're listening, you're learning something new. If you speak, totally, you just think what you have in your brain. You don't listen to new ideas. So if you really want to open, you should just close your mouth and listen. So please, Christian, continue. Sorry for the interruption.
No, actually, I was thinking in something in a phrase is that people look more for sympathy than empathy, right? You want people to like you, so you want to express your ideas and people to like you because of your ideas. But I think it's more how you learn to engage and be in a community more because you understand everyone, not because you're making yourself understood or because you're making a point. So it's how you leverage sympathy versus empathy.
Nice, wonderful. So I think that's all of the time. Sadly, I wish we had another 3 hours to chat, but that's all of the time we have. So thank you again, everybody. This was a wonderful look into the many different ways that we can build communities, that people are actively building communities, and the way that this is going to help us have a better world in the future. So thank you to Michael, Cristian, Lara, and Nikolaos. And again, thank you to Get Boarded for having us all here. If everybody is on LinkedIn or somewhere online, I assume that anybody watching who is interested in following up or learning more about what everyone does can find you guys. So thank you again, everyone, and thanks to Get Boarded for having us.
Thank you very much, Kailin, for the invitation.
You're very welcome, and in fact, it was a very good session.
And please, everyone, just join us in the EUVS virus. It's an open community, and it's for everyone. So come with us, and let's discuss about social problems and how we can deal with them.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kathleen, for moderating this session. And Nikolaos, one more thing, you speak, but your words are wisdom. So it's we are never offended about you speaking a lot. So don't worry about it. And in fact, this was such a great session. We could probably listen to you guys even longer, and maybe we, who knows, maybe we do it next month, next week, or we just start engaging more in these formats. Because one of the things that we did in order to bring this particular panel together is we understood that there are some silos. So there are people who are working in social impact things, because social work is not something that should only be under the government's responsibility, right? So there are people like Mike who are doing so fantastic, and they have really good knowledge or experience to bring it. In fact, just talking about Mike, he's 71 years old, as he said, but he returned to entrepreneurship, right? Because he thought that it's an important problem and I have the responsibility of working towards it. So if we can bring these kind of ecosystems to talk between each other, Mike, who is coming from social enterprise, Laura and Cristian, who are coming from the business side, and Nikolaos, you being engaged with academia and government so long. We wanted to bring this panel together and have a discussion, and I was amazed to see that most of your thoughts were in sync. So great. So thank you everyone for joining this session, sharing your speech with us. Probably for very sure, if I get 10 more requests to get this panel again, we'll do something again. Okay, but thank you.
I enjoyed the conversation. I would be very happy.
Yeah. What's that?
So thank you, and now I will introduce Otito. He's coming from BGI. Otito, let me give you access to share your camera and audio. Otito, you can share it.
Hi everyone.
Hey. So great. I'm quite thrilled with the previous session, and I now pass the mantle to you.
Okay.
So let me make an introduction. So Otito is the digital and deep tech manager at BGI and a doctoral candidate in economics at the University Institute of Lisbon. And Otito is supporting currently early and seed stage startups in BGI's portfolio, and he is also responsible for publishing one of the most comprehensive report on the Portuguese startup ecosystem, Portugal startup. So with this, we'll invite him to talk about the Portuguese ecosystem, and also if he can to address some of the things that just were discussed and given away as a takeaway. Like, we want to understand if the ecosystem, or we spoke about the needs of the ecosystem, or how they are working towards innovation and all. So how does the VC landscape or the money, the smart money moves here in terms of social impact funding, and what are the numbers, how is the ecosystem, how is BGI working on supporting such initiatives which are global, or which have the possibilities of bringing solutions to market. So Otito, as if you want to share your screen or share your presentation.
I think you have to make me a presenter. I'm still so
now you have the power is
it's in my hands right now. So I think my presentation is next. I might have to take off my video a little bit because my internet is
fine, Otito, but anyways, I will leave the room. I will put you on, but if you want to share or just your presentation, yeah, it's fine.
Yes. Okay. So I think maybe let me just move off to video a little bit, and then I will pop up when my presentation ends. Okay. Okay. So let me. Well, can you see my presentation, Shivam? Okay, great. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Otito Dosumu, and so I am the digital and deep technology manager at BGI, and it is my responsibility to help pre-seed and seed stage startups to get financing and to help them to commercialize their products and services. And I would be speaking on your chances of getting venture capital in Portugal, and just to make you understand how the VC landscape in Portugal is changing. So I think my role here is sort of just to be more like a data provider, and just to show people what the facts are. And obviously, this is a seminar or a webinar about the future of things. And my goal here is just to show you what the trends are and show you how you should prepare for those things. So I will be giving you some hard facts, especially in regards to financing, venture financing, and revenues and things like of that nature within the startup ecosystem, especially in Portugal. So I'm going to run you through the agenda for my presentation. So obviously, I'll tell you a little bit about BGI and what we do. I'll give you a background of this presentation. Then I'll give you some facts on investments, some facts on revenues, and obviously, and we would end the conversation with conclusions. So okay, so who are we in BGI? So BGI is a spin-out of the MIT Portugal program, which was an innovation and entrepreneurship initiative that was started with MIT in collaboration with MIT, one of the business schools here, University Institute of Lisbon, as well as the Foundation of Science and Technology. And the goal was to commercialize promising science and technology innovations from Portugal and to take those innovations to the US. So right now, our current activity, it's been 10 years since we've been operating in Portugal, and we've evolved so much, so much so that we run about 25 programs right now in BGI, and these programs can be split into 3 categories: education, acceleration, and innovation consulting. So on the education part category, we typically work with students from master's and to PhD level, and our goal is to identify innovations and talents when they are still very early, and help them to transform those ideas into something good, something great, and ideally into a venture of their own. When I'm talking about the acceleration program, so the acceleration category, so we have a bunch of acceleration programs that we manage. Some we manage on behalf of the European Union, some we manage on behalf of corporates. And here we work with individuals who are already entrepreneurs, who are at the pre-seed or seed stage, and our goal is to identify talented founders who are disrupting or who intend to disrupt key verticals that we work in. And after we identify these innovations, it's our goal to help them to commercialize by venture capital financing. Okay, so and for the last part, the innovation consulting part, we help support corporates and larger organizations, to who are looking to incorporate new innovations in their business models, and they are looking out for opportunities to like outsource their R&D. And this is where our innovation consulting comes into place. So this is just to give you our numbers, some of our metrics. So in 10 years, we've supported over 149 startups, and we've helped them to raise over 273 million euros, and we've had 4 exits. And we're really, really proud of the awards that we've received so far. We've been nominated, or we've been chosen as one of the top 20 accelerators in Europe. So just to give you, going back to the major presentation of why we're here, and by the way, that's our handsome CEO, Gonzalo Amorim, on the slide. I decided just to chuck him in there. And the purpose of this presentation is twofold, actually. So the first one is to help you to understand the current landscape of things. All right. And the second thing is to help you to manage your expectations and help you to plan for the future. So this presentation is based on one of the 25 projects that we develop at BGI, and it falls under the innovation consulting category. Every year, BGI publishes a comprehensive report about the Portuguese startup ecosystem. And our goal is to help innovators and investors, entrepreneurs, understand what is going on in Portugal. So in preparing this report, we analyzed over 600 startups with less than 5 years within the period of 2017 and 2019. And we obtained key insights based on key variables that we studied, such as the funding, revenues, and employment. So I'm going to give you some facts and some trends that we found out on investments in Portugal. So the first question you might be asking, especially if you're an entrepreneur, is there any funding for me in Portugal? So the short answer for that is yes, there is funding for you in Portugal. But of all the funding that is available for startups in Portugal, about 68.28% goes into venture capital financing. And this is expected to increase in the coming years. So funding is expected to increase continually in Portugal. So that's a good thing. But it's a little bit complicated, you know, because even though there's a lot of capital, it's still a little bit complicated. And this is because of it's only 50% of total funding that is available for early stage startups, which implies that if you're an early stage startup, you have a lot of competition while you're trying to find the funding that you need to grow. But where is the money coming from? Most of the venture capital money that exists in Portugal comes from foreign sources. But if you are in the early stage, the funding you need is domestic. And you don't necessarily need to search for international investors when you're looking for funding if you're an early stage startups. And we expect that this trend is supposed to continue to increase over the years. So this is going to always continue to remain in Portugal, whereby most of the money will come from foreign sources. And where does the money go to? So if your startup operates in the IT sector, you are more likely to get funding easier than other verticals, because it's just easier for IT companies to scale, and investors want their money very, very quickly. And this trend is likely to stay the same even after the COVID pandemic. So the next question you might want to be asking is, how long does it take to raise money in Portugal? And pre-seed is the fastest way of raising money in Portugal. You know, you can receive pre-seed money much more quicker than other funding sources. And this is followed by seed funding. And so it takes between about 10 to 20 months to receive funding. And we envision the time gap in Series A, when the Series A funding should close down, because Portuguese VCs are also growing. So before, the trend usually was that a lot of Portuguese investors usually only used to do pre-seed and seed. But right now, the VC landscape is changing. So Portuguese VCs are now able to support Series A companies. So that's a very, very good thing for the industry. So I will now quickly run to some facts on revenues and what you should know and have in mind if you're planning your venture here in Portugal, or especially here in Portugal. So I'll give you some facts on some revenues. So just like funding, information technology, if you're operating in the IT sector, you're most likely to generate more revenues. This is what the data shows. And as mentioned earlier, this is typically because many IT firms have lower CapEx, lower OpEx when compared to other industries like healthcare and maybe like clean tech, for example. Also, if you are operating within the B2B space. B2B businesses thrive a lot in Portugal, and they will continue to thrive in the coming years. I think just generally because of how Portugal is designed. Portugal is a small country, and founders will have to rely on large partnerships to grow and to scale their businesses. So if you see this graph, we see that ventures that have a marketplace business model, revenue model, generates more revenues. So marketplaces, ventures with marketplaces business models with a B2B client focus is sort of like the sweet spot for Portuguese founders. It is unlikely this trend will stay the same due to the impact of COVID-19 on businesses. There might be a surge in B2C post-pandemic. So from my presentation so far, I know I only had 10 minutes, so I tried to rush speeding as fast as possible. I spent a lot of time talking on the trends and just giving you highlights of some of the trends or some of the things you should know about Portugal and how you can plan. And I didn't spend a lot of time on why some of those trends exist. I dabbled in a little bit, but I didn't go in detail. And this is deliberate. And this is deliberate because you can find out why these trends exist, because we do have a report, like I mentioned earlier on, and you can download this report. We've also interviewed key stakeholders in the ecosystem, like investors, innovation builders, to give us the insight, so you can know more about why these trends exist in Portugal. So, what should we take out of this presentation? So there are two things I want you to take from this presentation. The first one is that you are the exception to this. There are exceptions to the data, and you can be that exception. So, for example, I said things like the data has showed that obviously IT companies raise more revenue and generate more revenues and raise more funding. You know, that is what the data shows, but you can always be the exception if you plan very, very well. And you might also need, and one of the strategies you can do is you have to continually reevaluate your business model and to rethink why you chose certain things for your venture. At the end of the day, VC investors invest in great founders, and great founders who have vision, and founders who have the ability to execute. And if you're that kind of founder, you have great potential ahead of you. So I hope the information I passed here was very, very helpful. I just felt I needed to pass a lot of data that might help you to plan your venture, especially if you intend to set up shop here in Portugal. Especially, I believe there will be several entrepreneurs who would be watching the live stream or later seeing this presentation who want to set up their venture here in Portugal. It is important for them to have this information at the backdrop so that they can plan properly. Thank you so much. Shivam, I'm done.
Do you hear me?
Yes. So did I finish in 10 minutes? I tried to.
We have more time for you. We planned a surprise. So thank you for the insights, and I have already heard you. I have already had the chance to hear you on these insights. So. And that's why we invited you to share some light on the Portugal landscapes and how the ecosystem, and who are the facilitators to these ecosystem, or who are the facilitators to these innovative ideas or innovations. So now we'll take a little bit of time of yours more.
Okay.
I will introduce Krithika, and she will run a small game with you. And just to make an introduction, Krithika is our HR, and she is managing our opportunities and operations on Get Boarded. So, Krithika, are you there? Are you able to share your screen and video? Let me see. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Perfect.
Am I audible?
Yes. So, Tito, someone who is from India but currently in Dubai, and she'll be playing a game with you.
Okay, great.
And I will just give it to her to explain what it is, and up to you, Krithika.
How do I share the screen?
Okay, yes. So, Otito, I will be making you an attendee again. You will have to activate your camera and mic again, and I will make Krithika the presenter to run it with you. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Otito, I hope you have not left, because you were giving a thank you message. Okay.
I'm still here.
Yeah. So
But
Krithika,
if my video flickers a little bit, please let me know, because I'm having internet issues here.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Great. Okay.
yeah.
So we have this game called Two Truths and One Lie.
Okay.
So after we saw your presentation, I think this would be a really fun thing for you. So basically the game is, we're taking a few companies and we'll give 3 statements about those companies, out of which one is a lie. So you have to read it and identify which is the lie.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I think the first one is Google.
So I have to choose what of these options is a lie, which of the numbers is a lie, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So the first company that we have is Google. So the first statement says that Google Gulp, a fictitious drink, was announced by Google in 2005. The second one is Google's original name was Rubback. The third one is, as part of the Green Initiative, Google regularly rents goat to mow the lawns of their Mountain View in headquarters. So which one do you think is false?
I know the 3 is the truth. I know that. I think that is the truth. That's one of the truths. So I have to choose between 1 and 2. Google Gulp, a fictitious drink, was announced by Google in 2005.
What do you think?
I think maybe number 1 might be the false one.
Okay, so I'll do one more and then I'll tell you the answers.
Okay.
So the second company we have is Facebook. So now 3 statements about Facebook is, the first one is Facebook's like button used to be the awesome button. Second one is videos are the least shared content type on Facebook. Third one is Al Pacino was the first face on Facebook. Which one's false?
I would say the third one is the false one.
False. Okay. So I think Otito, I think it was not right. So
I was wrong on both.
Yes, you were wrong on both. The Google one is, the second option is wrong. It was actually, Google's original name was Backrub.
Okay.
And the first option was actually true. They announced a drink.
Okay.
And in Facebook, the second one is wrong. Videos are the most shared content type on Facebook.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I was thinking of that the other way around.
Yes.
Yes, I know. I was thinking. Well, sorry, my bad. I should know.
Yeah, I tricked you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Great.
Okay. So thank you, Otito, for being here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You were a great sport. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and wonderful events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Cristian Friedl, and he'll be speaking about co-innovation, what, why, and how. So, Cristian, let me pass on the. Cristian, you have the access. You can share your videos and mic now. Perfect.
Yeah,
How are
I
you?
think it's working.
Yes.
Thank
So
you. I'm fine. Thank you.
will you be sharing a presentation? Yeah. Or will you be?
Try to upload, or maybe it's already there.
Yes. Check it in your presentation doc, please.
I am curious.
Okay. So
Okay,
you can introduce yourself and you can introduce courtship, and we'll mute. I'll mute myself and get out of the room. So it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm saying us because it's me and Adele. We are presenting to you the co-innovation builder, and why and how this may help your organization to thrive in this entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Let me also invite Adele to the room. So Adele, you can also share your video. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Are you there? Yeah, we hear you. Yes, we hear you and see you perfectly. So thank you for being here. And Cristian and Adele, it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you. We are running an European-funded knowledge alliance with industry and academic partners across Europe, and it's called Courtship, which is short for corporate entrepreneurship. And we're trying to facilitate the collaboration between small and large players, namely startups, corporates, universities, but basically everyone in between. So we thought it might be interesting for this community here, since we have a lot of startups, but also different other players here, to showcase what we are doing. Today we only focus on one tool we have created, and we try to keep it very short because I understand you are in front of the screen the whole day, so we keep it as short as possible. So our objective is basically to unleash the potential of co-innovation, and because what we experience is, and this is not only in times of crisis, but especially now, but already before, there was huge potential when partners innovated together. And it's already happening. On the left side, you can see this large ship, an oil tanker, which is steadily keeping its pace. But when we compare this to a large organization, it's perfectly rolling out its current business model. It's being efficient. It's satisfying the shareholders. But at the end, it's not so flexible after all when it comes to innovation, when it comes to reacting to changing environments. And on the right side, you can see this speedboat, which we could say it's like a startup. It's not stable at all, but it's always ready to explore new directions, to constantly explore new opportunities, and yeah, eventually disrupting the industry. But instead of seeing this as as some form of competition, where most likely both of them will lose, we could also see this as a joint opportunity, because they face different problems. For example, the corporate is fear of getting disrupted. There is this ongoing war for talent. The corporate needs sandboxes to explore new directions. And for the startups, on the other side, they face increasing competition between each other for funding. The solutions themselves are getting more complex in digitalization. It's not about software anymore alone. So yeah, they are searching also for new strong partners. And yeah, if the joint forces, they could of course perfectly complement each other. And I use on purpose the word could, because it's already happening. There are a lot of studies documenting this, but unfortunately it's happening with a lot of misunderstandings. Just think of the clash of different cultures between a startup and a corporate, the different speed of innovating, the mismatch between their expectations or hidden agendas sometimes even. So that's why we worked on a solution for this, a free solution to help both sides. And that's why we created the Co-Innovation Builder, which we are going to show you now.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So hi, everyone. I'm Adele. I'm the European Project Manager at the European Startup Network. We are based in Brussels, and we are one of the partners of the Co-Innovation project. So today, I introduce you to the Co-Innovation Builder. As Chris mentioned, it is a practical, a very hands-on tool that has been specifically developed to allow both startups and corporates and actually all well-established organizations wishing to collaborate to set up a successful collaboration. So let's go through it together. So before moving to the middle part, as you can see it, so this is to say before starting to reflect on the collaboration together, startups and corporates, and I will use here startups and corporates as an example during the whole presentation. So startups and corporates work independently through important components of the Co-Innovation Builder, such as you can see the drivers, the deciders, the contributors, resources, and returns. To define the driver or the drivers behind the wish to collaborate is crucial. So the drivers on both sides need to be expressed since the very beginning. A typical driver, to give you an example, for startups, for example, can be getting access to finance, getting access to networks or customers. For corporate partners, the driver can be to boost their innovation culture or solve specific challenges with the technological expertise of the startup. And it's better to be honest about it. Then we make the difference between the deciders, so individuals on both sides who have the decision-making power, and contributors. Both teams should also think about the different resources that they have to offer and the concrete returns on collaboration. So here, after going through the individual parts, co-innovators dive into the common part, as you can see it here in the middle, and where startups and corporates actually define fundamental points such as a common goal, such as the format, which is to say the type of a collaboration. It could be an acceleration program, it can be a procurement, for example, such as outcomes, also risks, KPIs, and milestones. Let me highlight here that KPIs and milestones are very important in the setup of the collaboration. To agree upon metrics is key, and we wanted to have it in our tool. To conclude, I would say that from our experience, successful startup collaboration is complex. We have to be honest about that. It requires good planning, communication, and the right tools. And this is where our co-innovation builder helps startups and corporate to communicate and collaborate effectively. And we hope you will make good use of it. Thank you.
End the note, or is it?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. We are happy. You can use the tool for free. You can just go on coreship.eu and download the tool. You don't even have to leave an email address or anything. And just to give you a little context, we're doing a lot of things in the Coreship project. You can see our great partners below there. We just have published a co-innovation builder, and it's kind of leaked. So we already have more than, 2,000 downloads or something. And we had 700 people in the MOOC, we did a training, a massive open online course on co-innovation. And we had, I think, 42 teams with 700 people actually using the tool online and giving us a lot of feedback. And what we received was very encouraging. We also heard from large organizations which use the tool within their organization to allow co-innovation between departments. So the tool is very adaptable. We can also use it between a startup and an SME, or even between two startups and the corporate. So we tried it in different scenarios. If you want to see how it works, you can just go on the website. There are also more videos, case studies, example solutions, and also other tools in our corporate entrepreneurship toolbox. And also we have done a free training, as I just mentioned, a massive open online course with 2,400 people enrolled so far. It's also a free training, completely online. You can also find the link on the website. And last but not least, next year we are running a masterclass with 30 people who can qualify through the MOOC. It's also for free. If you're interested, just check it out or get in touch. We are always happy to explore the potential of co-innovation with new people.
So people who are listening, and I know there are some very interested people who are listening, because we did one micro-learning course ourselves for our interns and our batch, our own HR professionals, like L&D experts. So this micro-credential training that you're talking about and the MOOC will be very, very interesting for all those people. So if you're listening, you can drop your note and your email IDs on YouTube. And we'll make the connection. And also Cristian and Adel, thank you for this. We would also like to follow it up and talk to you about the micro credential tool that you have developed. I would do my own research and we speak to you, because we are developing some of the things, and also we would like to do some thing in collaboration, because one of the areas that we work is in education. Okay. In fact, we work only in education, to be honest. It's learning and development, either in universities or in corporate environment. So we can co-develop some of the things which can help the universities or the academia do the digital transformation in an easier way. Because in academics, in a university structure, it's difficult to implement change, even though it's a very rapidly moving environment. So there are students coming in, students going out, technology changes and all, but it's still, from the management perspective, they're still the same. Faculty perspective, they have to be on the edge in order to match the industry, how technology and career landscapes are changing. So we work into that, and we would love to work with you on this co-innovation builder and propagate it to different universities which are part of our network. So thank you again very much for this. And now we are coming to the close. We have saved the most the like we planned the session for ecosystem builders as starting at a country level, where Otito explained about fell. Firstly, the panel was about addressing the needs, or what are the needs, and then we had Otito who brought in the Portugal landscape and ecosystem. Then we brought you guys who are talking in terms of EU and what you have developed, and now we have Gabriella who will be presenting the whole stuff from a European perspective. So I will invite her, and Cristian and Adele, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank
We
you for
will
having
reach out
us.
to you with
Thank
some
you, everyone.
follow-up comments and requests.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Gabriella, we have you. Yes, we see you.
Hi.
So as the stage is already set, and I've already made a little bit of an introduction for you. Would you like to take up directly where you speak about future of impact innovation in Europe?
Yep, we can do that. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we were supposed to play a game with Cristian and Adele.
Okay.
But if they stay with us for a moment, then we can play a game with you, all three of you, with Krithika taking up the stage. But not to take any more time, I will just close the presentation, and you would like to just choose the presentation, share your screen, and we are good to go.
Okay. I'm
Your
not seeing anything in
presentations are
the
uploaded.
shared files. Yeah. Just a second. So I'm looking at the event board, right? And there is no presentation so far, but I can maybe share the screen if that's okay.
No, in your presentation, you have your presentations, like in the second menu from top on the left. Oh, hold on. Do you see it now?
Oh, yeah. Now I see it. It's fine.
Okay. In the presentations, you have it on top. You have two versions. One is PDF and one is PowerPoint, whichever works for you.
Okay. Great. Let's start then. Is this a PDF or doesn't matter actually? Well, in any case, thank you so much. Really, this is an amazing opportunity to address such an important topic. And actually, I'm amazed by the panelists before and the organization. That is really amazing. And it's actually very reassuring that all of the previous panelists are almost talking the same, right? So we kind of understand each other from this perspective, and this is really, really reassuring, because it means that we're actually doing something right. So let me start by presenting myself very quickly. So I'm Gabriella Marcelja, and I'm the CEO of an international organization headquartered in Rome, Series Global Academic Diplomacy. And today I'm going to be focused on the future of impact innovation in Europe. So my agenda is going to be comprising different aspects of impact innovation, from a very, very general introduction to how does the future of impact innovation look like from a business perspective, what is the role of entrepreneurs and how to actually utilize the existing innovation ecosystems, how is the thought process being built, so the way ahead to build impact innovation business models, how can impact innovation be beneficial to businesses and better tomorrow? And finally, the role of Europe in the world. So these are actually mainly questions that I will try just to give a very short answer, because we actually don't have much time, but I'm actually very, very passionate about this topic. So I just hope that I will give some very let's see, brief insights, but that will again resonate with everyone. So impact innovation as such, I've tried to divide it with impact, with innovation and impact, where innovation stands again for better solutions, new ideas, requirements, and a more efficient products and services. If we add to innovation impact, what we have is actually a noticeable effect on the quality of life and the happiness index that a lot of countries are trying to focus more and more today. And what we're doing here is actually promoting productive and inclusive economic growth overall. So when it comes to the business perspective on impact innovation, here we, I kind of tried to point out 3 main points. So we have a high value with fair prices. So a business perspective should not exclude because of the price. This means that, again, coming to point number 2, we need to build scalable solutions. So if we scale it big and fast, that you can actually earn money without maximizing your profits, then the quantity is going to literally give us a good step ahead, and we won't be focused on margins as such when it comes to this. And then, like, the main point of a business perspective also is really to, of course, have some profitable business models. So when you maximize your impact, you can also earn money everywhere. How do you do this? This is, again, a point for, let's say, the CTOs of different companies, but mainly through a differentiation in business models and margins for each country. So we cannot have a same business model for every single country where we go. And this is definitely a point that needs to be taken into consideration, whether we are a startup or a big corporate. This really doesn't matter at this stage. How to build impact innovation business models. I've tried to really put the most important ones here. If we have some, let's say, state or corporate-centric, let's say, models in different countries, what I'm seeing happening in Europe right now is really a more user-centric business model that is supportive, eco or green, as you like, inclusive, it's open, transparent, and of course efficient. So when it comes to, let's say, the main driver behind impact innovation, I'm not saying that the Sustainable Development Goals that were built by the United Nations in 2015 that are the main ones, but they definitely help us to, deliver this type of vision and really scale it to not just a few people, but really to scale it to corporations and to both developing and developed countries. So, of course, all of them are extremely important, from SDG 9 that is focusing on industry, innovation, infrastructure, to 11, 17. So basically everything is extremely important when it comes to impact innovation, because here we're really talking about how do we make our businesses more sustainable, and how do we actually think of the quality of life as one of the index and one of the factors that we put in, let's say, in our everyday operations within a business. As you may already hear from many, not only politicians but really experts, leave no one behind became one of the sentences that right now a lot of businesses can really how to say, be very, they can really look up to it. And my answer to this, what else, right? If we have this type of understanding, that I think that we really can do a lot of things together. So the benefits then to businesses and the better tomorrow, again, I've tried really to put 3 main benefits that a business can have today. The main one is sustainability. Again, through sustainability projects, one can improve its own brand image, competitive advantage, reduce costs, increase productivity, and of course be very attractive on the markets and in front of investors. we have a second point, which is concerning positive impact. So again, my question is, why wait for something good to happen when we can start doing it right now? So we shouldn't be actually waiting for us to make profits and then make some good in the world, but really starting to think in a way, okay, what can I do good in terms, in terms of now, right? So don't wait for the future to happen. Let's really act right now with what we have. And this again comes to a shared vision that again is a shareable consciousness that leads to again a better future and really creates those key partnerships with those organizations and people who really think alike. And that's something very, very valuable today, because we've seen that through the different challenges that we've had during these past months, during the lockdown, infinite partnerships are really possible, not only thanks to, again, internet, but really thanks to the common consciousness that we all have and that people really developed during these, I would say, also troubled times. So when it comes to the role of entrepreneurs, here I really tried to kind of differentiate two different levels that an entrepreneur can be somehow engaged in. So one is the micro level, and what is the macro level? So the micro level is something that the entrepreneur is doing in its own right. Via its own her or his own enterprise. So being self-determined is really a key. So we need to improve again the world by solving a specific problem, and we need to do this consciously. Changing again the startup or the corporate mindset and the workflow definitely helps. And again, we are talking here about moving from a vision from profit maximization to maximizing actually impact with whatever we're actually doing within an organization. And the third point here is really scaling by impact. So we are improving life quality of people, and I know that many of you are already accustomed with the global approach that actually it's really crucial when we want to make some impact. So really start locally and then scale it globally. The macro level, though, is something that works through innovation ecosystems, and this panel actually is really really amazing because previous colleagues really were talking about this in more specific terms. But here we are talking about building polycentric, decentralized local ecosystems that aim at promoting cross-civilizational integration, corporate responsibility, and sustainable business models. So again, this is done through partnerships. We are supporting each other by building synergetic alliances. And this is actually changing the whole way of how we make partnerships today, because we are, again, skipping some hierarchy, because we are going from a hierarchy kind of infrastructure to networks. And then thanks to all of this, we are also stronger. Thanks to, again, a community of like-minded people. And here we're really transitioning from a competition model to a cooperation model of everything that we do. Here I've tried really to just put into some very brief slides how Europe looked like yesterday. So 10 years ago, the GDP, again, share of the European Union was almost 30%. And again, research shows that in 2050, the European Union is going to, let's say, downgrade its own GDP by 50, and it will come at 15%, which means basically that our policy right now is not letting us to progress further. So this is again one of the many research that were made also by the European Commission and other research centers, but it really shows that today we are at this critical point where countries really need to wake up and understand, okay, what do we need to do? How do we change models to actually make some constructive, policies that can really care about the economy of the future. And this is actually a very interesting report that I really suggest everyone to read by the European Commission, which is called Nobody Cares. Actually, let's just try to reverse the rhetoric here and actually make that everybody cares about how do we want to live in 2050. And again, Europe 2050, it's 30 years from now, but still it's the time really passes very, very quickly. So how do we want our continent to look like in the future? And again, today in 2020, we are facing a revival of the European innovation ecosystems. And this really needs to change right now. So through the EU versus virus challenge organized by the European Commission, we really saw that this is possible. A lot of people care, and a lot of people can do, something that can support the overall goal and make actually our future more sustainable. By 2030, we already know that every single country would need to kind of achieve a smart and sustainable model within their own country. In these terms, in Europe, we still don't have we still have countries that do not have an agenda for implementation of the Agenda 2030. So there is still a lot of work that should be done in order to actually start thinking in a way where impact innovation is key of everything what we do and how we operate. By 2040, of course, the idea, the vision would be really to start actively investing in impact-driven deep tech made in Europe. So again, my presentation is really focused on Europe. This, of course, is something that does not need to discriminate anyone, but definitely needs to be a wake-up call for every single country that thinks in terms of, okay, where are we actually investing in which type of, again, company, where is this company located? And my wish here is that we really create impact-driven deep tech made in Europe companies that really can make a huge, that really can support a boost in terms of, sustainability factors of our European Union. And then by 2050, again, Europe as a leader of clean tech, impact-driven deep tech innovations and social entrepreneurship is something that can be achieved by systematic, policies that really drive the economy in the right direction. And this is really a hope, not just for Europe, but for every single continent, that definitely needs to be more strategic in how we operate in general from now on. I'll just briefly introduce a very, I would say, interesting initiative, and it's actually a call for action. Not just for us in the organization, but I would really like to extend this call to all of the panelists and your organizers to really join this initiative. That is basically the Impact Innovation Alliance. So it was created by impact innovators and winning teams of the EU versus Virus Challenge, organized again by the European Commission and many, many volunteers. And this was organized in April. So from April till today, a lot of ideas grow into real businesses. These businesses right now are, again, trying to find the best way for grants, the best way for funding. And some of them are really showing extremely good results. And so I think that really from an idea, a lot can happen if we really think in terms of impact-driven, models. And so when it comes to this, the manifesto for Impact Innovation Alliance really says that we want to have impact there replaces the old stigma of we go there only when we can actually maximize profit. So we're really trying to change the narrative we are sure that, again, a lot of, let's say, innovators are thinking alike, and we really try to unify a lot of hubs that are thinking alike. So what do we aim for here is to tackle the challenges of our time by building inclusive products and services with higher inclusion and accessibility to increase equality and solve challenges of our time. To focus on the made in Europe, so solving challenges of our time is not only necessary, but they need to be inspired, again, in the case of Europe, by European values of solidarity and self-determination. So again, every single entrepreneur really needs to be self-focused and really need to kind of do this I would say psychological work within itself to understand how can we actually support the overall system and not just think about profits here. And what we aim is to really create a decentralized impact valley. So how do we want to do this? It's very simple. It's by connecting remote hubs all over Europe and the world to join forces for the higher good. So really the EU versus virus, let's say, main hashtag of Stronger Together really is the key driver of everything that we would like to do. And that's also why, again, the fourth point is really to drive impact globally. So innovators that are backed by strong home markets, wherever they are, can scale globally and make impact worldwide, no matter their background, as soon as they are ready to really make a great impact and change something in how the general business operates today. I think that they really have a good chance of standing today and in the future in the market. So here I just put a couple of pictures from our launch event in Austria, in Linz, with the Minister for EU and Constitution. We've had an amazing time really learning about the ecosystem and the innovation co-working areas in Linz. And I really hope that from this experience, a lot of our again, winning teams are going to not just relocate to Linz, but really to try to find a way of how to operate again and scale from, again, one country to many others by having this impact-driven model in mind. And again, the future is today. So we've tried to really be present from Austria. That again was literally 2 weeks ago in July. We moved to Croatia, where we met also the Rijeka Development Agency, and today we've also had the opportunity to really present this the Alternate Future Summit, which is really great, and I just hope that everyone can get together and be part of this great initiative. And then we're going to have also some great, amazing opportunities to speak in Zambia, in France, Russia, Italy, and many others. And so thank you very much. I will conclude here my presentation. Feel free to reach out, not only to just say hi, but really to include yourself in the whole, bubble, and to really make some change together. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to even ask them now, or just really send an email, and I'll be happy to answer it anytime.
Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia.
It was amazing speech. Today we speak about innovations, leadership, communities, and of course, co-dreaming. You're all our co-dreamers. From today, let's start our co-dreaming way to act for world's well-being. Appreciate you, love you, proud of you. Many thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. I mean, it's really amazing to see such a great initiative, and thank you so much for the invitation, because again, this is an amazing opportunity really to share our joint vision and to really make some change together.
Thank you very much, Gabriella. This brings the event to close, and I cannot, tell you that this was how we imagined it to come across. It was all, Natalia's idea that okay, let's do something like this, and it just grew out of, proportion. Like we got participant supports, we got, speaker support, we got a lot of community support from our partners. People Tree and Energy came on as a sponsor, and then we got partnerships from Demium and DMS Network. BGI came in to pitch in, and then not to forget about our own University of Aveiro, where we are incubated in the University of Aveiro incubator. So a lot of things just got together to bring the summit together, and we are all living in the digital time, so we had to do it in a completely digital manner, and it was fun. We had practically no costs and no operational headaches, and we were able to pull off something which was so rich in content, rich in discussions, rich in ideas. And it just, I'm amazed. Like in the morning I was probably anxious, but even now I have the same energy by listening to all of you, and specifically how this is wrapping up to come to a it's coming to a wrap. I would like to, along with Natalia, give a thanks to all the people who participated, and I would like to mention their names. So, thank you, Krithika, Nazi, for helping us here. Chaitra, Asha, Sophia, coming together and almost going sleepless nights. And a note of thanks to Elvira, who did all the promotional work. And not the last but not the least, Ramji, who helped us with the the web structures and all the technical things. And then Ishita, who actually started with it, but was tested with coronavirus and she had to drop out. And our interns Tanya and Tanya, who were also big part of this community. And it is not going to end here, because there are many people who have volunteered to take notes out of your sessions, and they'll be writing up some details on what you have shown us, what you have told us, and these things will be published in a publication on Medium. So we'll be sharing your contacts to other people. We'll be talking about what you spoke here today, and we'll share it, distribute it across various media, because this thing needs to happen. This, and we love the format. We love how it is happening. So thank you again.
Thank you so
Natalia, if you want to close, we are almost 2 minutes up, but from a time perspective also, we planned it like this. Like if the speaker is going in time, then we'll have a fun game, engager or energizer with them, and if not, then we'll just wrap it up. So there was one planned with you, Gabriella, but I think we should close without that, because your presentation has itself been the high note on our summit. So we can make it an annual or a quarterly or a what is 6 monthly called, half yearly event. But thank you very much for participating, everyone.
I would just like to add one thing.
Yeah.
So I think Sir has mentioned all the organizers, participants, and I think I would also like to say even Shivam Sir is equally responsible for putting up. So a big thank you to you, Sir. And you also motivated all of us. And I think everybody did their job right. And I think the summit was so successful. And so Nazi and Shivam Sir, so big thanks from the organizers to you.
Thank you. We are just missing Chaitra's face in this event, but probably next time.
She's in the call, yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
Thank you all. With this note, I think I am quite embarrassed to speak after Krithika. So we'll wrap up this event, and thank you all for being with us today. So
bye.
Thank you.